What's up, sporting connoisseurs? Welcome back to another episode of the MLB Big Bracket Stadium Series. We are back with another installment of the series. In the last episode, we saw Globe Life Field of the Texas Rangers win over Great American Ballpark. They move on to the second round. In this episode, though, it is Busch Stadium of the St. Louis Cardinals facing off against Oakland Coliseum, of course, of the Oakland Athletics. Now, I know what you're immediately thinking, like there's no way Oakland Coliseum will move on ahead of Busch Stadium. And you know what? You are totally right to say that. This will not be a close battle. But let's just go through each stadium anyways so we can learn a little bit more about how they're designed and what makes Busch Stadium a little bit better and what makes the Oakland Coliseum a disaster. So I guess to start this video, I want to begin with a few thoughts of my own. Firstly, with Busch Stadium, in my opinion, this is certainly one of the best stadiums in the MLB. Busch Stadium has a capacity of 44,383 people. That's kind of a big capacity for the MLB. That's not including standing room either. Just looking at the view from the upper deck behind the plate, it is a magnificent view. You have all those nice buildings. First of all, in the background, you got the St. Louis Gateway Arch. You could see it from the stadium. That is beautiful. And just overall, you have this really nice outfield configuration. You have the connected home run wall the entire way around the stadium. There's no gaps in the wall. There's no weird kind of dead zones around the stadium other than the batter's eye, of course, which is a really nice green lawn. I really like that batter's eye. This was designed very nicely, almost like a retro classic ballpark, but once again, it just looks really nice from a lot of these views here. But then you compare Busch Stadium to Oakland Coliseum, and this is the first image we're seeing, and you could already tell where this matchup is going to go. It has a capacity of 46,847. It is the Oakland Athletics original ballpark. They were always at the Oakland Coliseum. It opened in 1966, a very old stadium right now. Oakland Coliseum is just kind of a mess to look at. There's a lot of weird sections in the stadium. Of course, you have the infamous Mount Davis. Look at all those seats in the outfield. They're completely tarped off every single game. It's not been open in years, so no one sits in that large upper deck section. I believe no one's in those suites as well. Of course, Mount Davis was installed for the Oakland Raiders when they were playing here. Obviously, the Oakland Coliseum is a multi-sport stadium. Not exactly anymore, but it used to be. It used to host the NFL's Oakland Raiders before they moved away to Las Vegas. But yeah, that is the reason why this stadium is just so weird to look at nowadays. But again, other than Mount Davis in the outfield, it's just a concrete donut from the 1960s. Obviously, this kind of design is completely obsolete for stadiums. No one is making their stadiums like this anymore. And you could tell why. The seats are just so far away from the actual field. It is just crazy. There's so much foul ground in this stadium. And we'll get to more of the specifics later, but let's take a look at the outfield from each stadium right now. So starting off here at Busch Stadium, let's make our way from left to right, I guess. In the left field section, right beside the home run pole, you have the Big Mac land. It is a pretty well-known sign. You could see it whenever they hit the home runs out there in left field. I like how the outfield does cut off on either side, by the way. It just makes a nice symmetrical kind of look. I like how in St. Louis there isn't a lot of this outfield seating, just because number one, you have that magnificent view, but then also just because you don't want to have stacks and stacks of seats in the outfield when most of the time it's not going to be filled. So it's just better to not have a lot of seating out there. But in left field, you're going to notice they have these little rooftop seats beyond the bullpens, beyond that first section of seats. There are rooftop seats, and we'll talk about that area a little bit later when we get to the exterior. But they do have a ballpark district out there, which is really nice. In center field, you have the green patch batter's eye, just a green lawn. I really like that. That is amazing. They have that Coca-Cola porch, which is also pretty cool. Nice standing room, social areas, of course. And you have the other bullpen, and the bullpens are really nice at this stadium. It is right next to the field. That is good location for that. And then for the scoreboards in right center field, those are some nice scoreboards, just two separate ones right there. They're not that big. I think it looks good like this. They don't have to have such a massive scoreboard. But guys, now for Oakland's outfield, and oh my goodness, we are hit with Mount Davis once again, the beautiful mountainous structure that is Mount Davis. It is right there. Of course, it's unmissable. The home run wall, first of all, is just completely disconnected in each section of the outfield. You got these two weird dead zones on either side, right beside the foul poles. It's just a wide open staircase that sort of leads to nothing. But other than that, you also have the batter's eye, which is a completely blank wall. And it's just because they had to retract all the seats. Home runs do get hit off of the wall. They bounce back into play and they're counted as home runs just because of that strange home run wall. They have done a renovation recently where they added some standing room locations out in the outfield. I guess that's a good thing, but again, I don't really know why they're investing that kind of money into such a lame duck stadium for the Oakland Athletics. But there you go. I guess it's a nice addition. So now transitioning to the main seating bowls, more looking at the infield sections. At Busch Stadium, it is really nice. I love the seating design here. The red seats are really cool. I like how there's multiple levels of seats. Just the way they kind of stack on top of each other is just really cool. You have a lot of VIP box sections in those very desirable sections around home plate. It is a very understated but really nice seating alignment. And then you got the premium seats, the green premium seats right behind home plate. Those seats look really comfortable. And I do like how they're not red just to make it kind of distinct and interesting. But again, I'm a huge fan of those red seats. I love when there's pops of color around the stadium. So that is great for me. The upper deck is really nice too, how it's kind of a split level. And you have all the seats facing towards home plate, facing towards the diamond, which is exactly how it's supposed to be at MLB stadiums. This thing was built back in 2006, but it really is like a model design that I believe most MLB stadiums should model their stadiums after. There's nothing I would change about it at all. Now, comparing that to the Oakland Coliseum, these two stadiums are the complete opposite designs of each other. It's just a completely circular configuration of seats. 3 decks, you got the large lower bowl, the middle bowl, and then the upper bowl. There's nothing remarkable about the stadium at all. I guess the seats look good. I do like the green interior seats. I do kind of like the look of this stadium with the seating color, but again, just because it is a big circle, not all the seats are going to be facing the center of the diamond, like the pitcher's mound, the important action areas. One of the most famous things about this stadium is, of course, all the foul ground in the infield of the stadium and the fact that the bullpens are actually on the field. And that's kind of a really funny thing. Foul balls can actually go up and hit the pitchers while they're warming up. That is completely outdated and unnecessary. And then with the dugouts, they don't actually have fences on the dugouts either. They're completely open, and that's just because they're so far away. But yeah, just overall with this seating configuration, they're just so far away from the field with all this extra foul ground that there's no way you can say this is a good arrangement. But where the stadium gets a little bit better are the premium seats. They do have some pretty nice premium seating options at the Oakland Coliseum. You got these ones that are kind of further up, and then you have the ones that are a little bit further down, right beside the field of play. And these sections are all right. I don't think they're great. The seats here look like mesh seats. These can't be that comfortable for sure, but I guess they do a good job at dissipating the heat from the sun. But either way, just the fact that the stadium is circular, you can't give it many points for that. But now transitioning to the exterior of these stadiums, starting off with Busch Stadium, the exterior of this is just beautiful. I love these brown red brick columns. You can see it has the team store banners in a left field. That is just so nice. I love that red Busch Stadium sign as well. This exterior facade really is amazing. It's so welcoming. And then I wanted to talk more about the Ballpark Village here at Busch Stadium. It is located across the street out in left field, and it's just a nice area for all the fans. You got restaurants, you got stores, you got a little watch party area where the game is on the TV. There's a stage for live music, places to entertain, chat with your friends. just a really nice area to enjoy the atmosphere of the game, even when you're not actually in the stadium. That is just wonderful. Any type of ballpark district will just elevate the fan experience by a lot. And you're seeing a lot of other MLB teams wanting to get these kind of ballpark villages, putting lots of money into new renovations for their own ballpark districts. And this was one of the first ones. You have this one, you have the ballpark district at Truist Park for the Atlanta Braves. But this is becoming a very popular development, and it's a good way for fans to spend more money at the ball games for sure, bring in more money for the team, but also just to improve that fan experience as well. And now for the Oakland Coliseum, and I'm just going to say it right away. This is easily one of the worst exteriors in the entire MLB. The field is actually sunken below ground level. So when you walk into the stadium, you're walking into the second deck, like the middle deck of seats, so it doesn't look tall to begin with. There's no area to walk around the stadium. It's literally just a parking lot around the stadium. There's no attractions at all for fans. It's more like you just go to the game and you go to your seat, and that's kind of it. It's very minimal. There's really nothing kind of going on around the stadium, and that's kind of the problem right there, is that there's really nothing for the fans. This is just a destination stadium, a stadium where you just go there to watch the game, and there's nothing really to do afterwards. You just go back to your car and head home. I mean, that's it. You're going to see in my final ratings, but this is definitely one of the worst exteriors in the MLB, and there's not really much you can do to fix it. And you'd have to completely redo the entire ballpark to make a better exterior. So that is kind of unfortunate for the Oakland Coliseum. So now we are at that time of the video where we have to choose a winner, and surprise, surprise, it is Busch Stadium of the St. Louis Cardinals. They are moving on to the second round of the bracket series. They're going to get an interior score of 9 out of 10. In my opinion, this is one of the best interiors in the MLB. You can't fault the stadium at all. There's nothing to complain about. The red seats are an amazing color. I love this entire seating design right here. The premium seats are great. Just everything about the interior is fantastic. For the exterior, I've given it a 9 out of 10. It's a great exterior design. I love the industrial look. That red brick style is just amazing. And then, of course, you do have the ballpark village that we talked about. It's kind of funny because in this video, Oakland Coliseum has always been a complete 180 of Busch Stadium, and it's the same thing for the scores. In the interior, I've given it a 2 out of 10. I don't think it's all bad. Of course, it doesn't look good at all. Super obsolete design. But they did put some effort into adding those new standing room sections. They have a few restaurants as well. But then again, for the exterior, this is where I have to give it the score it deserves, and it deserves a 1 out of 10. There's just no fixing the exterior, in my opinion. And I really hope that they get a new stadium in Oakland. I hope they don't move out to Las Vegas, but it does look more like that is certainly going to happen. We might see an announcement for those renderings soon. But yes, that will wrap up this episode. We have Busch Stadium of the St. Louis Cardinals moving on to the second round. The Oakland Coliseum has been eliminated. As we continue on with this series, in our next episode, we'll be looking at Chase Field against Petco Park. That's going to be a very interesting matchup there. Two pretty good stadiums, I might add. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, improve the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to my channel. We just passed the amazing milestone of 250 subscribers. Thank you all so much. So definitely, if you want to support the channel, like and subscribe to the video. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.